Okay, cool. So this is kind of introductory piece. So I kind of need to know who you are and where you appeared from.
Okay. I started doing music when I was about 16, and I had a band called Vincent Fiasco. And we got quite big, very open for Interpol, and we did some tours, but it all got a bit much for me, the drugs and rock and roll. So I quit that, and I'm half Italian, and I went to live in Milan, and I started writing for other artists' lyrics over there, and signed to Sony ACV, and just basically was just working songwriting. And then I came back to London with the thought of doing the same thing here, but I had all this material, and I met Alan McGee on the set of Creation Stories, the film about his life, because I'm playing an air stewardess in that. And
What part are you playing?
An air stewardess.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, is this when Alan has his breakdown on the plane?
Yeah, she's a bit of a naughty air stewardess.
Right,
Yeah.
I didn't know that part of the story, but that's it.
Yeah, I think that's just something Irving Welsh wrote in, but you know.
Yeah. And then typically of Alan, you told him you had some music and he was really interested.
Yeah, I was really interested, and I found this amazing writing partner called Gordon Mills, and he's like produced a lot of bands in the noughties, and that was really like, that's the sound that I wanted, you know, like when I was a kid. It was just coming in like the Libertines, the Strokes, and you know, all this, then just like coming out the 90s, like 9 Inch Nails, Placebo, early Manic, all this amazing music, and I wanted to kind of like recreate that sound. So we hooked up, and then we just started making one song at a time, and now we've got a whole album's worth. So it's just been, I feel like I'm finally actually singing and writing about, you know, what matters to me, whereas before I think it was very much like I kind of maybe write a bit about heartbreak and stuff like that, but I think I finally found my voice now, and I'm like comfortable enough in my skin to be able to write about the stuff that really matters.
I mean, when I listened to it, it was more the glam indie end of things and the end of things, which I liked, because there aren't that many people doing that kind of stuff at the moment, are they? So,
yeah, I know. It's good.
Yeah.
It's I think, you know, obviously right now it's like rap is what goes, you know, and I think we had that massive boom of indie music throughout the noughties, and everything comes in cycles. But yeah, it was just really important for me to kind of like use the stuff that really influenced me. And it is quite kind of glam indie, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it was well produced and it's a big shiny sound and it's exciting to listen to, and scrappy indie is great because, you know, when it's people just can only just play it can be quite enticing, but sometimes it's just good to hear something that's monolithic and powerful and bold and shiny, which is you.
I think it's I wrote the lyrics to Doom Generation. It was originally a poem because I was just so fucked off about just, you know, I've had like, you know, my own problems with mental health, and I just think the situation nowadays I couldn't imagine being a teenager right now, because I went through so much shit in school. I was bullied, and you know, and I think nowadays with social media there's so much pressure on young girls and boys to look a certain way, to be a certain way, and you know, and I just the recent suicide of Caroline Flack and all of these pressures that are on our generation today, you know, and then on top of that you've got kind of like the big pharmaceutical companies, Sackler, you know, fentanyl, all these kind of, you know, we're not dealing with problems. Kids are getting sick, and like you're just going to the doctor and just like, oh, take these pills, NHS cuts, all of this stuff, and it really fucking gets to me. So I really wanted to write about that.
So is that what the core of the song's about?
Yeah.
Wow, it's a massive subject to squeeze into 2 minutes 40 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah, defo. I hope that I mean that's kind of like the theme of all of the songs that we've done is that, and it definitely is very hard to try and squeeze it into 3 minutes of pop, but you know, it's something that the early Manic Street Preachers did so well. You know, I always I kind of really look at Richie as a massive lyrical influence. And they had this amazing knack of taking these really, really deep lyrics and then just forming them into this amazing, like, pop rock song. You know, you get like James Dean Bradfield singing these really dark lyrics, like, and it kind of just go, oh wow, actually. And it gives the song a whole nother dimension while making it still accessible, which is kind of cool.
It is total genius the way they'd hand in the lyrics and he would turn it into something.
I don't know how, I like to this day, I don't know how he does that. Did that, you know.
It's really underrated quality. It's quite difficult to put the meaning into somebody else's words, but he also put the emotion as well as the melody in as well, didn't he? Yeah. Were the Manics the first band that showed you there was another way of making music? You know, when you grow up, everyone's into pop music, and then suddenly you hear the thing, you go, wow, there's a bit more to it than I thought.
It was 9 Inch Nails for me. I was watching MTV. I was about 10 or 11, and Trent Reznor came on, and I just remember like, oh my god, what's that? And I felt really weird. I couldn't, like, it really spoke to me. And then I started checking out other bands. This girl in my village, her older brother like started playing me stuff, and then I got into Joy Division, and I was like, this is amazing. And then from like 12, 13, Joy Division, Placebo, Nirvana, of course, was like, oh my god, this is incredible. Depeche Mode, Killing Joke, but it was really Nirvana. And then when I got into the Manics, that was kind of something I felt the lyrical content was just absolutely mind-blowing, and I loved how it was almost like a poem, you know, which was very much my style of writing. I started writing poems first of all, and you know, knew somehow that was going to be my path in life. But yeah, they think they got the alienation really, really well.
Yeah, there were so many things they managed to cover, you know, also an extraordinary sensitivity, but in a very intense kind of way, wasn't it? So it was two things at once, wasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not, you know, you've kind of got this, it's like, it's so great because you've got, it's massive pop, which is accessible to everybody, rock, but at the same time, there's like slyly sneaking their message in.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's so good. And then, of course, like Ian Curtis, I was completely obsessed with. You know, just fundamentally great lyrics and
sound as well, isn't it? And you knew what it's, you know what it's about, like even looking at the words, which is great in music, isn't it? Yeah. So how old were you when you first heard 9 Inch Nails then?
11.
Wow, that's amazing. They can make that impact because they're quite grown-up subjects, aren't they? Quite grown-up sounds.
It is, but I was like, I didn't have a particularly happy home life, and like my dad's an alcoholic, and he was just a nightmare, and I was really bullied at school, so I kind of felt very, very, very alone, and like I had nobody, and like nothing could to understand me. And I remember seeing that on TV, and I was like, for some reason it just really, I think it was his anger as well. And then I thought, oh my god, okay. And then I'd start listening to like things like Placebo and Nirvana, and I think, oh, I'm not the only person who's feeling like this. And because there was nobody around me kind of like talk to, and I was going through like internalizing all of this stuff, it kind of felt in some sort of way that like they were my mates and that they kind of, and I think that's like, I truly understood the power of music when I was about 12 years old. I like really understood how it can like help you and really make you feel like less alone and less alienated with your problems.
So whereabouts was this? Which village was it? Was it middle nowhere?
It was a pretty little place in Wales, called Pontypridd. We moved about constantly. So my dad was always getting different jobs and we were always moving about. And yeah, and it was, I just went to this school where I just didn't, you know, fit in at all. And it was just horrible. And, you know, didn't really, and then at home, everything was shit. So yeah, it's all of that kind of influences
the only
what
goth
goes
in the
on.
village.
Huh?
The only goth in the village.
I was the only goth. No, it was fucking awful because when I was about 14, I stopped going to school altogether because I just couldn't take it anymore. My mum, basically, she'd been married and she didn't really want this like depressed goth daughter. So she sent me off to London to live with my dad, who by this stage lived in London and was like full-blown alcoholic, with a new wife. And I argued with him because he just wasn't capable of looking after me. So I went and I started working at a latex shop in Camden, and then I read this interview with Cosmopolitan magazine, and it was this girl who'd started working at Stringfellows. So I went and auditioned and started working at Stringfellows when I was 16, dancing to rock music, and living in a squat in Camden. And I was just like, I just need to get enough money together to get a guitar, learn how to play the guitar, and get a band together. So I did. I got my band together, and it was really, really great. But but yeah, I then also like got involved. I kind of like started trying drugs and was like, oh wow, you know, actually this makes everything go away. And I think because I was only 16, it kind of all got a bit too much too quickly.
So which period of Camden was that? Was that after the glory days? Was that? But you still had going on.
Just after the glory days, yeah.
Yeah.
When did the glory days end?
I guess it'd be about late 90s, so it must be way after that.
Yeah, way after that. Yeah. Like mid noughties.
Yeah, I mean, there's still things going on, but there was a period where it definitely was the place, isn't it?
It was. They saw. Oh my god! When I first came here, they had. Do you remember Club Kitten?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. That was amazing. I remember going there and I was like seeing all these people I just been reading about in anime and Kerrang and being like.
So did you think? Did you think music could, you know, sort of save you by listening to music, being in the music scene, or making your own music?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think music saved my life a lot of times.
Was that the actual power of being creative, making your own music?
God, yeah. I mean, it's obviously not like anybody who starts a band or is a singer or musician. It's not like you're not in it because of the good pay or the hours, you know. But honestly,
you don't have to prove that now, do they? Everyone knows that.
Exactly. There's been like times when I've properly been really like thought I've been losing my mind. I've been so depressed, and sometimes you write it out and you'll come up with something and it's cathartic. You feel like I've got it out, you know, and so yeah, I think music as therapy is something that works. And definitely when you're feeling really, really shit and like nobody else can understand you, you could put on your favorite record and just be like, it actually feels like there's somebody there. So yeah, I definitely think music creating is a way of exercising the demons.
So what can you make plans of what you're doing at the moment? Because obviously we're in a pretty weird period. I mean, you put the tracks coming out, but you can't tour it, can you, for the time being?
No, I know. I was like, we were just about to do our first gig as a band when the corona broke out. So no, we can't. Fuck knows, you know. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. But I guess just put it out, see how it does, you know, and just keep putting stuff out. I mean, I don't think there's any way to plan anything at the moment, is there really?
No, I mean, what does Alan have a plan, or does Alan?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to put this out, see how it does. We've got the second single ready as well, which is very Manic's influenced. So each one of like our songs is a little bit of my life, just kind of like how I'm feeling in that moment. Usually I'll go straight into the studio with Gordon and just be like, I've got this, and we'll
Or is it quite a fast creative process?
Yeah.
So when you're working with Alan, does he just put the records out? Does he get involved creatively as well? I mean, not obviously he doesn't write the songs, but do you talk about what you're doing, how you're doing it, where it can go?
Oh fuck yeah! I mean, like obviously he's kind of like, you know, like a beacon in music, everything that he's done. So as soon as I've written lyrics, I'll usually text them to him, and he'll tell me what he thinks. But as soon as we've demoed a track, I'll send it over. And then, you know, sometimes he'll put a little bit of input in. But very much he's who I go to talk about all aspects of it. And, you know, what the good thing about him is he's like, doesn't give you any bullshit. And it's just straight up what he thinks. And, you know, he's not going to try and fuck with your creative process or make you into something you're not, which is very, very important.
So in a weird way, more like a really good mate. He can bounce stuff off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's interesting how it works like that with his bands. But he always adds something in there, but he never tells anybody he does that. Yeah.
Great guy.
So you obviously have a lot of you have the songs. So you could do a live set if you can do a set. I mean,
yeah.
What's you like live? You're not played live, but I suppose from the rehearsal room, you know what it's going to be like.
I love playing live. I absolutely love it. I mean, with my old band, we were a bit like over the top. I used to like set myself on fire and stuff. That was back in the day. No, I love playing live. I love the energy, and yeah, I was really, really looking forward to, like, you know, doing this gig and I was hoping to do festivals this summer, but I guess just have to wait till next year now. And hopefully, I mean, it seems like bands are booking again. They're rescheduling for next year, so hopefully it'll get back to some sort of normality, whatever that will be.
Yeah, brilliant. That's all stuff for ECAT, because it's like an introductory piece. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've got quite a lot of interviews on.
Sorry?
You're doing a lot of interviews.
Yeah, quite a few.
It's on the radio the other day, wasn't it? Janice Long played it.
Who did?
I think Janice Long played it in Wales, or a producer.
Okay.
The track
yeah, I know it was on this guy called Adam Walton's as well.
Right, maybe. It was him I was speaking to.
Yeah.
On his show, yeah. So he said he's seen some on my site, and he said it's a good track and that. Yeah.
Awesome.
So starting that long journey, innit?
Yeah.
Imagine
it really is.
Stephen Mack will play it, imagine, wouldn't he?
Steve. I knew him back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, he's the one who did that interview, isn't he?
Famous arm carving.
For real, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I've actually got their first demo here.
What, like proper? Oh my God.
With a letter from Richie.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, when they were dead young, and it's funny, the letter, because they're quite different. What they were saying in interviews is different from what the letter was saying. Yeah. I mean, they're just a young, naive band then. Yeah.
Oh, you have to send me, like, you have to photograph it and send it to me.
I did a lot of the early interviews because I've known them for years and years. I just did an album with Nicky's brother Patrick, you know, he's a poet. and I set all his poems to music because
wow.
he's actually I think he's the muse. I think he's the guy that got them into all the stuff. He got them into poetry. He got them into the beat writers. He got them into the Clash. He was like the one. He's a bit older, and he had all the stuff. So when they were dead young, he was just going, read this book, listen to this record. Yeah.
Amazing. Do you think he jumped off the Severn Bridge, or do you think he disappeared?
I think he disappeared, but I can't. You can't.
Me
say
too.
Yeah.
I totally think he disappeared.
I mean, it's not because I wanted that. That's a happier ending to the story. So I'm just trying to change the story to fit your own narrative. I just think he was obsessed. I remember interviewing him, and he was always really interested in Jim Morrison. You know, whether he just, I mean, obviously Jim Morrison did die, but he was quite interested in the myth that comes afterwards. And I think he was the kind of person who would, in a very distressed state, would fake his own death or disappearance just to see, fascinated by the reaction afterwards, because he was fascinated by media, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The trouble is, once you started that, you can't go back.
Exactly.
So 2 weeks.
You can't go, all right, fam, like, I can go where?
It just really stuck. I mean, if he did do it, and you can't be totally sure, he's done it so well that nobody in the band knows. You know, they assume he probably has. They don't know what's happened to him either. He's done it in a way that only he would know. But the end part of his life is so full of holes.
Yeah.
It's the car. Nobody, the cameras didn't pick him up. He's taking cash out of the bank.
I mean, he did it. If he did it fucking well, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you can. I mean, off that bridge, you can jump off that bridge and get washed away. And a lot of people never get seen again because it's got a very strong current in the river. So he could have done it, but on the other hand, he probably knew that, so he probably did it he probably set up in a way it would leave it open-ended. Yeah. I interviewed him 2 weeks before he disappeared. He wasn't in a good state though.
Was he not?
No, he was drinking a lot, and they didn't used to drink that much, and he was drinking bottles of vodka, and he wasn't going in a good direction. But maybe he thought the only way out was to pretend, do the fake thing, and then he wouldn't have been himself anymore. I think the persona was just crushing him,
Yeah.
And his dog died. That was the thing they always think tipped him over, wasn't it? Yeah.
That would definitely tip me over.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing how they go.
I'm obsessed with them. They're honestly, dogs. They're the best things in the world.
Yeah.
Like, literally saved my life. They're amazing. Unconditional love. We all want it.
Yeah, no, it's conditional because he just wants his tea. That's what it's all about.
Tweets, yeah.
They're simple animals, but they haven't worked out very well. Yeah. It's funny with Richie because he wasn't really meant to be in the band, was it? He was just he was a driver. He used to drive him around, didn't he?
But he was learning his instrument later on, wasn't he?
He does play on the early gigs. When I saw them,
yeah.
I could hear him. He's just playing the chord at the beginning of each line. So he goes A, jing, E, jing, like that. He doesn't need to play.
Aww. A bit like Sid Vicious.
If you watch some videos of the Pistols, Sid's bass playing is not brilliant, but it's not terrible.
Better, doesn't it?
He's playing the root notes all the way through. He's getting away with it. I've seen worse. Yeah, it just fits the myth that he couldn't play. I mean, obviously Glenn Matlock was a far better bass player, but Sid could do it enough. Yeah.
I play, but I'm not by any. I play on stage. I'm not by any standards of virtuoso, but I can play.
Yeah, but if he makes the noise that's needed, then it's the right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of rock and roll, you don't need complexity, and also the Manics with James Dean Bradfield, you just got one of the great guitar players of that generation. You don't need anybody to play anything else, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as Richie just hits a chord now and then, that was his job, wasn't it? He was the Minister of Information, wasn't he? He was. When I first interviewed him, he did the whole interview, and Nicky would chip in, and the other two didn't say anything. And he had this really weird thing to say the most outrageous thing in a very polite voice. So you kind of doubled it. You say it, you go, God, did he just say that?
Awesome.
And they worked out, also the thing I noticed, they'd worked out all the quotes before the interview.
Oh, I need to do that.
They were so, they were so because they were so media obsessed. They'd read
Yeah, they
everything.
were. That media savvy as well.
They knew how to do a great interview, and it doesn't matter. I mean, a lot of bands can be brilliant, they don't say very much, but when you interview them, it was just like, wow, they fucking know their stuff. They sat there in their house in Wales for 4 years, just learning
thinking
everything.
up stuff to say,
stuff to wear, stuff to sound like, song titles, the whole thing. The four of them obviously hung around together for 18 hours a day, talking about every single detail of what they were going to do. And they made it work, which is great, isn't it?
Genius.
Yeah. At a
And
time.
I mean, it's amazing that, you know, they can still sell out nowadays, you know, like that's a broad spectrum, isn't it? Of like the people who were into them then, and then still now, you know, they can go and, where did I go and see them? Don't remember. It was like their last gigs in London. A massive place, I'm not sure. I think maybe Brixton. No. Anyway, it was amazing. And they still had all like their Generation Terrorist shit up in the background and still belting them out. And Nikki was still like all glammed up. And I thought, and I really enjoyed it, you know.
I remember when Design for Life was massive and they played Arena in Manchester, 16,000, whatever it is. There's about 2,000 people in leopard skin and 14,000 Oasis blokes at the gig.
Yeah.
Looking at the people in the leopard skin, like
we were quite just like, why are they dressed like that?
Yeah, it's like that. It's really weird because they managed to get both audiences, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what they always wanted. They always unashamedly wanted to be massive, and people used to laugh at them, didn't they? For wanting. I
don't think Richie could deal with that level of. Probably he would have thought it was too. He would have thought it was selling out, wouldn't he? Probably. Even though I think they wanted that level of fame.
I think he found it difficult to deal with himself, really, more than the other stuff. I think the other stuff was. He was enjoying the rock star lifestyle. He was the one who enjoyed it the most out of all of them. You know, I think eventually, if he got past that bit, he would have gone back to Wales like the rest of them. You know, just back. You know, just calm down a bit. Yeah.
It's such a fucking weird place, South Wales.
Yeah.
It's like when you go. It's like going into like this weird parallel universe. I mean, it's a really strange place, you know. Like
every town, not even the whole. Every town is really cut off.
Yeah.
So whatever town you're in, even if the next town's a mile away, the people don't know each other, and they're in the little valley, they're in the little town, and it's really locked in like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's quite assertive culturally, but on the other hand, when people go like a band, they totally follow them, don't they? It's really supportive of its culture and that.
Yeah, of course, because it's like you're from Wales, you know.
Yeah. And it's all near the countryside as well. So if I stay with Patrick, he lives in a little mining town, but his back garden is a mountain with loads of mist on the trees. So it's kind of both things at once. It's totally rural, but also totally industrial. It's not like in the north where everything's just totally built up.
Exactly.
In Wales, yeah.
Pontypridd is like really, really weird. Like my gran had this house and like the back garden was this fuck off mountain, you know.
You look out the back window and you think, wow, I didn't even realise that was there. Yeah.
It's pretty mad. It's pretty mad. But yeah, they're like the Welsh are fucking loyal to their bands and
they're good at
and so
they're always good at they're always really melodic because the accent's melodic, so it kind of gets into the music. Yeah.
And you know that like loads of Italian my dad's was Italian, and like it's really similar Welsh and Italian.
Was it?
Melodic, yeah, to kind of like, and then there's loads of Italians in South Wales. And my best mate, he's from Neath, and he was in a cafe for lockdown, and he sent me a like audio video, and he goes, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "That's Welsh people speaking Italian with a Welsh accent."
Oh wow!
Man, it was mental.
That's bizarre. Yeah, I remember the guy who used to run TJ's in Newport. He was Italian.
TJ's.
Yeah, the venue. Yeah, John Sicolo. He's dead now, but he's an Italian guy. Yeah. What a venue! That was an amazing place. That. Yeah.
Why do I remember? I think I remember like my older brother going to that. Was it an absolute shithole?
it was a dump, but they had amazing bands on.
Yeah.
Green Day's first European gig. Nirvana played there. It's when he proposed to Courtney Love, wasn't it, in TJ's? And
What? No, that's amazing. I love that information. That's so cool.
They're always about a year ahead of everyone else on booking bands, so especially kind of punkier bands. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's quite an amazing little scene they had there for years and years. Yeah, they're making a film about it now, so it's.
What about TJ?
Yeah, because it's just such a cool story.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, I played there about 20 times over the years. The crowd was mental. It's a wild place.
Yeah, Newport's pretty wild place.
Isn't it? Yeah. So I'll have to hop off now, Kat, because I just got to go in.
Okay.
So